Check, check. Vocals are looking good. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Good evening, everyone. We are coming at you live from Columbus, Ohio, and we are going to take a look at what we've got going on this week. So, strap yourselves in. It's going to be a quick one. I want to keep it quick this week because I have to get to sleep in order to trade London. So, it's a big update. I'm going to be starting to trade London session, and probably from 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. within that range of time. If I'm able to keep this up, that'd be great, but we're going to test it out. And the reason why, there's a couple reasons why. One, it's impossible to trade well during the New York Open session, especially since I've got the 9 to 5. So I'm just going to switch my sleep schedule around a little bit and work so that I can trade London. So here we go. Let's go prep for what we got going on this week and see what we can find out. Okay. So let's go over to this screen here. All right. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Things are going okay. Good. Okay, cool. All right. So this week we have FOMC minutes going on. Lots of Fed speakers. We've got unemployment claims on Thursday combined with flash services PMI. And then Friday, revised U of M consumer sentiment, followed by Fed Waller speaking. So lots of Fed speakers. This isn't the best time to be trading. I'm not going to lie. London may not be the highest. I'm disconnecting. Uh-oh. Oh. I'm disconnecting here. We're getting some dropped frames here. So I'm hoping this doesn't drop too much more. All right, well, either way, I will keep on going until this thing disconnects, but those are the core events for this week, so be careful. There's a lot of Fed speakers talking. It's going to be a rough one, I'm not going to lie. So I'm not expecting a ton, but let's take a look and see what's going on with the markets right now. I actually need to clear a lot of this up. This is some stuff that I had been doing when I created the video to tackle a lot of the work here. This is a lot of my kind of musings on what were good entries, what were bad, what were acceptable entries, and what I was looking for at the time. So I'm going to remove some of these here because they're very distracting. But I'm going to keep some of them there because I'm going to use some of them later. But let me get rid of some of these up here as well because those can be quite a bit distracting. Okay. All right. So we'll get rid of this as well. And some of these are no longer relevant for us, so we will take a look at what has transpired so far. Okay, so let's look at this on a monthly level. We can see the month of May has eclipsed the month of April, and so I am looking for price to continue to be bullish in nature. As this month closes, we'll start to see that we've got a short-term low here on the month. If the month of May is able to maintain this really nice squeeze that it has the first part of the month, like I mentioned at the beginning of the month, there are some economic factors that as we get closer to the end of May, I'm expecting for price to continue to rise in a bullish manner. I don't think that this I think that we've broken an all-time high, but we are also in a weird spot where we have a lot of economic stimulus coming into play. So I do still stand by that. From a monthly perspective, this has breached a all-time high. So the next month could come back down, but I would like to see for this month to at least close so that we have another short-term high above here. And on the monthly level, we can look for key levels to be broken and displaced below. On the monthly, we're still bullish, so I'll keep that in mind, that we may continue to extend our reach higher. On the weekly chart, so here on the weekly chart, we've got, get rid of this here so we can see some. We have a new 20-day, 40-day, and 60-day IP to high. It's technically right here if you're using a dynamic one. We'll keep referring to this until the end of the month. That's totally fine by me. So either way, right now, do we expect this week to expand higher? Or do we expect this week to come back down into this dynamic range, which we've traded up into? So far, we're extending upwards. So what I'm going to be looking for, what I would look for first, is do we respect this range consequent encroachment? So I want to have this weekly level on my charts here, 18,698. So 18,698. And I want to apply this as a weekly level, but I want to make this a consequent encroachment. So wick, this is a weekly, 1 week wick consequent encroachment. And then I want to put that level up here if possible. Might as well put that in front. Maybe it'll be better to see there. So I'm going to have this level on my charts. I'm going to see how price reaches up for this. If we reject here, then I would assume that we are heading up first in order to head higher, or in order to head lower sometime later on this week. Now, if we close above that midpoint and continuing heading higher, then I imagine we'll strive for yet another all-time high. Especially as we go into the last week of May. I would like for us to see maybe we create a maybe this week we trade lower and then create a fair value gap here, but I don't know. It's really tough to say because now, as you can see on this weekly chart, this was the previous new week opening gap. This is old now. So now it's a gray one here. And we've got the new one. Current new week opening gap's way up here. So this is going to be an important referred level for this week. I fully expect that with this initial move higher, and you can kind of see how on the 1 minute time frame, you can see how price has moved higher so far during this gap. So I would like to treat this as a displacement below a short-term low, and I would target this sell side liquidity. Right? And also we have, of course, this fair value gap, this fair value gap, and new week opening gap as well. So so I'm going to mark this sell side imbalance here. We might be able to get into a trade first, but I need to check a couple things first. So we're going to mark that sell side imbalance out for now, and we're going to see if we end up getting a return back up to that level. Let me get something queued up first, just in case it goes. Need to open up trade copier. I'm going to trade copy a couple of these accounts here. Okay, let's see. Okay, 313, 314. I'm gonna trade two accounts, two 250K accounts at a time. So 13, 314. No guarantee. Hey, what's going on, LP Trades? Your question is, hello, did Apex pay you? Yes, Apex did pay me. I received the confirmation in my bank account. It does take them a while because they have a lot of people that are manually going through and reviewing payments and payment requests to make sure they're not gamblers that are trying to take payout requests. But yeah, Apex is paid out. They've paid out in the past too, so I didn't really have a question that they wouldn't pay out. So yeah, nothing wrong there. Let me take a quick look at this chart though, because we have a couple of things still left to go. So we're heading higher. So we need to be careful because last week we did see that, and let me go to a daily chart so we can see where we are. So last week, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, we started off here. We ended up manipulating lower before we headed higher. Even though we started heading higher first, on Tuesday, we got a big, nice manipulation lower. So that being said, I would expect us from a daily perspective to aim for, and some of these are on a lower time frame here. I need to get rid of some of these boxes, honestly. These have already been traded to, so we don't need these anymore. Don't need these anymore. Don't need this anymore. Don't need this anymore. I need a low here. We have to mark out our lows, so I want to make sure I have that available here. So it's this one down here on the 1 minute time frame that you see. So I want to have that, drag that out over time. So we're back. So back on this weekly chart, I do expect us to expand higher and then expand lower into this dynamic buy-side imbalance. There's an imbalance here, so it would make sense for us to potentially come down into halfway of this imbalance there. From a daily chart, we can see that on Friday we dipped down, then we headed back up. So starting this week out, right? This 1 minute candle, we started this candle off by heading lower first and trading higher. So I am of the impression that we are potentially going to continue to creep higher, because I don't see us having been taken over having taken a solid 15-minute intermediate term high yet. So what do I mean by that? I mean that we haven't taken out this intermediate term high just yet. Will we have to? Not necessarily. We could drop from here, but I'm not going to fight this trend because we can clearly see that we've taken out a sell side liquidity and then we've started to trade higher. So let's finish off the higher time frame analysis first before we get deeper into that, right? So on the daily chart, we can see, let me get rid of one more thing here. There's a 15-minute buy-side imbalance below us that I was pointing out down there. I'm going to remove it for the time being, just for chart clarity purposes. So we had a previous new week real-time hour opening gap that was non-existent. So I'm moving the pink lines over to the close of last week. Okay, so on the daily chart, if this is the weekly manipulation higher, then I would expect for us to trade lower first. We are and have traded down below that short-term high, which was up here. This happens to be an intermediate term high on the daily chart, so we traded below it. We need to see, do we trade to that weekly consequent encouragement, take that rejection block, and then start trading lower first, and then kind of maybe frame out a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday drop, Wednesday, Thursday low of week, and then maybe we see something like that, and then Friday we see it return back up. A little bit of consolidation would make a lot of sense around this level, or maybe it trades lower just to take stops out briefly here and then heads back higher. I'm of the impression that we're still bullish, but it is quite a bit of a move that we've made so far, so don't expect that there would be high probability moves to the upside. If anything, I will be looking to see if once buy side is taken, will we continue to treat the buy side as an area for targeting. Okay, so on the daily chart, we have this rejection block here. We have the previous IPTA day high. We have this short-term low that you want to be making sure you have marked out as well. So want to make sure you have that marked out on your charts. And then let's go down to the 4-hour chart now and see what we can find. So, and this might actually be easier if I take the larger screen over. It's kind of hard to see all of this on one screen. So, okay, so we're on a 4-hour chart now, right? We can see that we took out this previous daily intermediate term high. We traded lower, and we also can see when I move this down from here, actually from here, the previous dealing range. Here we go. So we're going to zoom in a little bit on that last dealing range there. So from this low to this high, so you see that low is 18,392.75. This low is 18,393.25. So this happens to be a short-term low. You can see that we traded down past the 50% mark and close to the 61% optimal trade entry area. We stopped dead in its tracks once we filled this buy side imbalance. So there's still a lot of room for price to continue to head higher. Now, short-term high here, we've only created a lower short-term high. So I would be interested to see if price can take out this high here and head lower, or just from a 4-hour perspective, I definitely do see outstanding liquidity down here. And we've seen, while we've seen large candles head lower, we haven't seen that big displacement candle yet on the 4-hour chart. So overall, still bullish in nature. I want to see a big candle like this or like this to treat this as displacement. I don't want to see that wick, right? So what I'm going to be looking for on today, tomorrow, I'm going to be closely watching the all of these buy side liquidities to be taken, and I'll be looking for them to be taken in both Asia session and London session, and then of course whatever happens during New York happens in New York, right? So let me get rid of some of these other ones that I had been drawing during back testing here. There's a lot of lines that I had drawn out, so I have to get rid of a handful of them. Okay, there we go. This chart should look slightly cleaner now. There we go. And let's see, I need to get rid of this one as well. Let's see, can this stay? Guess so. I'm going to draw out some of the buy side liquidities that I see on the 15-minute chart all the way out in time, just because I know they'll be referred to all the way up. Okay, great. All right. Get rid of one thing here. Okay. All right, there we go. Let me see if I missed some of these. LP trades, nice, congrats. LP trades, I recall Apex has a rule where they request to show previous 2 days next 2 days if you break a rule. Yeah. Hey, what's up, ABS Phoenix? Good to see you, man. Apex has a consistency rule, but they also have like a no news trading rule and no full porting when you get to performance accounts rule. They're all in the frequently asked questions area, so I would highly recommend any prop firm that you understand what their rules are. But they won't, if you're trading consistently and not during news, or you don't have you're trading consistent strategy, there's a good chance that they won't even ask you about your strategy. Like, as long as you're consistent, taking consistent profits, sticking to good rules, they won't ask you a thing about those. So you don't have to worry about those if you're trading a proper strategy. Okay, back to the charts though, since I don't have much time left. From a 4-hour perspective, we traded from this low to this high, that dealing range. So we took out this low here, traded higher, took out that high there. So this is currently from here to here is our dealing range, our new dealing range rather, it's because we have this short-term low that got taken out by this short-term low. So we have this range here that we're looking into. We've already passed equilibrium of this range here. So I would look to see if price can come up, take out this area of liquidity, and then trade lower, targeting this buy side imbalance here on the 4-minute chart. I do need to get rid of some of these here. It's far too many additional lines from my back testing. All important lines, but okay. Okay, cool. So we have, and I can get rid of this one as well. I don't think we need this one. Let me see. This is on the daily chart. We can keep this one. These all could be mitigation blocks, so for that reason, I'm keeping these here. Okay, so on the 4-hour chart, we know that we're in a new dealing range here. So what would I expect? I would expect to see price trade above this short-term high, buy side liquidity, right? So I'll put this here. This is a high of 18,686.50. And we're going to call this previous day short-term high, buy side liquidity. So we know what that's referring to when we're looking at price. And then, of course, we have the low, which formed at the end of the day down here, 18,545. Previous day short-term low, sell side liquidity. So I want to make sure I have those listed on my charts so I can zoom down into lower time frames and see what's going on here. So let's take a look at the 15-minute. We're going to skip the hourly just today. But as you can kind of see from yesterday's movement, we have already spiked. We had a change in state of delivery up here. We've traded above, traded here above this short-term high here. So I would expect for us to maybe travel down, take out this area of liquidity, return to this buy-side imbalance, and then head higher to target this liquidity, and ultimately this weekly level there. Let me see if we put that up here. Let's put that on all charts. Yes. It's currently just missing. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this optimal trade entry here. So you can see what I'm aiming for, what I think Asia is going to run for. there's no imbalances here that haven't been balanced out already. So I would like to see them form maybe a relative equal highs around here, trade lower, take that out, and then trade higher. That's what I would like to see this week. Within that week, there's plenty of other areas to play around with. Let me see if I can find it. This is a bullish order block as well. And this might prove important later on. Let me get rid of some of these here as well. This is previous backtesting work, so I apologize if it hasn't been super clean here. Okay, there we go. That should be cleaner though. Okay, so I don't know if it's going to head all the way past this bullish order block though, because that would be an enormous range, right? If we were to take from this low to this high, 50% would be right around this area here. And so when I look at that from a 4-hour perspective, yes, we did have a short-term low here, which then we had a much larger range up here, and we've already traded to the 50% mark and traded higher. So that leads me to believe that if we trade higher this week, this little blip is all we would need for a weekly move, right? If you recall, this previous week had just a tiny little movement lower, right? So what's to say that this week won't also have a tiny move lower before heading higher? So in London, what I'm going to be framing out, let's go down to the 15-minute chart. I want to see what liquidity gets taken. If we come down into this internal range liquidity first, before London session, I'm going to be looking for a smart money reversal at this bullish order block right here. So I'm going to expect that price trades to at least this 50 and more than likely this 75% mark. If it's very bullish, it'll barely blip here at the 50% mark. But I'm of the impression that it's going to want to take this out, make relative equal highs, send it lower, maybe travel down into this bullish order block and this buy side imbalance, maybe wick down to the new week opening gap and then head higher. Another scenario which could happen is that we've traded to a rejection block here, that we continue trading up, taking out buy side liquidity here. We've taken one buy side liquidity. There's a third. So we trade up to here. We stop just short, trade lower, and then eventually midweek we trade higher to take out that weekly wick consequent encroachment that we had pointed out earlier. This one here, right? Okay, so this wick here is going to be a lot of importance. We need to see if there's days that close above that wick or not, right? So we'll be watching that very closely. So yeah, I mean, that's the play. I'm looking for stops to be taken. I'm looking for the exact same setups that I showed you in the video I released yesterday at 4:00 p.m. So I'm going to use that same exact model, and we're going to look for roughly 10 to 15 to 20 handles of profit. London isn't known for giving you massive spikes. So I'm going to treat London as if it's on a bullish run. You can kind of see how even though there's displacement when you zoom in on the 1-minute chart, you'll be able to see how even though there's displacement, it's not respecting that and it continues to head higher. Okay. So what I've done is I've marked out buy side liquidity here. So we know that there's this 15-minute one where we can reach out all the way through the rest of the day. We have multiple different areas of possible profit taking. That would be another one as well. And if I look at them on a 4-hour chart, it gets even cleaner, right? So we can see that this one doesn't really matter as much, except for the fact that it's within a bearish order block here, doji candle almost. So this high is going to be important. This high as well, potentially important because it's within the last 3 days. And of course, this low here is going to be important. This new week opening gap will be important. And if we are fortunate to head above this weekly consequent encroachment, that would lead us to believe that, of course, the next all-time high would be in jeopardy as well, or at least traded too. So yeah. I actually don't want to keep this one here. This sell side imbalance is going to be enough of a target for us to trade up to. So if we continue trading up during a Monday, I could see us doing a Monday high of week, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, drop lower, Thursday, reversal, and then Friday, come back up to take this previous buy side liquidity that we marked out there at all-time highs, right? So that's what kind of profile I'm looking for this week. And yeah, that's really it. It's hard to tell right now, but I know we're at time. I wanted to keep this one short, but that gives you an idea of what I will be looking for in the weekly candle. I'm expecting for this week, I'm expecting that we trade up to potentially the consequent encroachment of this wick here. I'm expecting we can trade up to this wick as a manipulation, and then maybe trade lower during like Wednesday, Thursday, and then maybe we hitchhike all the way back up to have another green week. So it's hard to tell though. Very difficult to tell because we breached the all-time high again, and that comes just after we breached this previous all-time high over here, right? So we breached this, we traded lower, caught a lot of people short, change in state of delivery to continue once we hit this bullish order block, which would be in a premium. So I don't think ICT considers that to be a bullish order block. It just happens to be there. Within this dealing range, yes, absolutely a discount. So now we'll have this dealing range as our new dealing range from a weekly perspective, which also leads me to believe that, hey, if we take a fib from this low to this high, and let's say that I'm going to move this over here so I can actually see the numbers. So what might this show here? Well, if we don't end up breaking this weekly dealing range at all, I would expect to see us trade to, if we are incredibly bullish, I would expect for us to trade to the low of this week's dynamic buy-side imbalance, sell-side inefficiency, and either reject and head back upwards from there, or at most we go down and we target this volume imbalance on the weekly chart, coupled with this 50%, segment here that happens to be on a weekly imbalance as well. And I can further illustrate this by drawing this over here. This is a weekly level. Let's lock that. And then, of course, this one is also a weekly level being pointed out right around here. This low is 17,983.75. So we're going to mark that as such. So you can kind of see that there's this buy side imbalance that we left open, right? So I would expect if we are incredibly bullish that we'll not get below this 25% swing grade of this entire dealing range. Maybe the 50% mark if we start to see some really big displacement lower. But once we hit this volume imbalance, coupled with this buy side imbalance in general, I will look to see if maybe this volume imbalance as well runs down to it, and then we head back upwards. So we'll see. I mean, we are in a premium of a premium of a premium. So I'm watching and waiting to see if on a monthly chart, if we can close above here, then we'll have created a short-term low. And then once we get displacement below that, that would signify to me to go bearish temporarily. On the weekly charts, it's a little bit more data that we see. So we had a short-term high get displaced downwards, but this almost instantly changed the state of delivery to head back up higher. So for the time being, we're still bullish. We know that all-time highs have been taken, and taken once, twice. I would expect maybe we take one more, and then we have a power 3 here where a high has been taken here to here. This high has been taken here to here, and then this high eventually gets taken from here to here somewhere. So when we do that, I'll be looking to see if there's smart money reversals to the downside, and I will look for big displacement candles that don't have a immediate buyback for me to identify what to trade next. So that's going to be the plan for the week. I'm going to be up playing London. I'm going to be getting to bed, going to shower and getting to bed now, so I can wake up bright and early for handling London. So it should be an exciting time. If you're on at 1 o'clock a.m. Eastern, I'll be on live streaming from 1 o'clock to about 5 o'clock. And we'll see if we find anything. It's a Monday, so very low probability that we'll find anything. But we're going to look for roughly 10 points, 20 points here and there. So that's going to be it for today, for today's review. You know what I'm going to plan for the week. You know what I'm targeting for this week, this week's expansion. I generally feel like we will end up expanding lower in general during the middle of the week, and then possibly rebounding on Friday. So that's the weekly profile I'll be looking for this week, and that's what I'm going to trade. So I think that's it, though. Thanks a lot for tuning in. So I got to cut this one short today, but let me know in the comments if there's any questions. If you see anything else, let me know. I'm more than happy to take a look at that in the morning. But other than that, I guess everyone get some rest and drink some water. Make sure you stay hydrated. And if there's any other questions that I couldn't get to today, let me know. We'll catch up on Monday and Tuesday in the morning. I will not be streaming, by the way. I will not be streaming during New York session. I'm not going to leave it on. I'm just going to cut it off and go to sleep. Because I'm not going to be here. I have to physically go into the office, unfortunately, on Monday and Tuesday. So, and then I'm flying out internationally on Wednesday. So you will not see me from Wednesday, May 22nd. You won't see me again until maybe the 31st if I'm lucky to get back by that time. So, gonna get some good vacation time in. Have some good trades. Drop some comments here, and I can probably check in the evenings there, see what's going on with price. And yeah, glad to get in on some vacation time soon, though. So got to get some work done before then. And yeah, so good luck this week. Watch that dynamic buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency for us to pop down into this a little bit. I imagine we will, but there's stranger things have happened. But yeah, okay. All right. That's it. So have a good night. Take care. And we'll catch up soon. Paranoic, safe travels. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. As always, drop any questions in any one of my videos, maybe on the comments video of this one. And I'll try to answer as best I can. And yeah, take care, everybody. Have a good night. See ya.